Sorry? He's good, alhamdulillah. He got a little sick a week or so ago, but now he's good. That's good.
I hope I didn't spread it to him. I tried to cover my face.
No, his cousins had it too, and everybody, even I got it.
Oh, you have it too?
I had it.
Okay.
Alhamdulillah. La ilaha illallah. Praise be to God. We bear witness. There's no God but God. Submit to God and worship Him alone. Before I begin, inshallah, note that anything I say that's good comes from God. God is the source of all good. He's the source of all righteousness. And if there's something that I say that's incorrect or wrong, feel free to correct me. It's my own fault or my own wrongdoing. And this is a Quranic fact in chapter 4, verse 79. Today, inshallah, we want to talk about words, inshallah. Because in today's society, words, they have like lightweight. They're not really heavy. When people speak, they don't carry the heaviness of what the word means or conveys. For example, I don't know if you guys ever been to like a restaurant or you go to a store and a person greets you and it was like, hey, how you doing? Well, welcome. But it doesn't have that same feeling as if they're really saying welcome or how you doing. Like they really don't mean it. It's just how you doing. It's like something I gotta say because the customer has come in. Or if you purchase something at a store and it's like, thank you, have a nice day. It's like, it has no weight. It lost its mass, its intensity, its density. They don't really carry that true meaning of what the word thank you means when they say thank you. Or have a nice day, or how you doing. Because most people, unfortunately, the words, they're lightweight. Doesn't carry that meaning that is intended to carry. For example, a good example is if you watch any award shows of people going to awards and they accept things, and that person could be gaining a lot of illicit gains from saying crazy filth on songs or having crazy movies representing the wrong things. And then what's the first thing they say? The first thing I want to do is thank God. You put out all this crazy material into the world that affects people's minds. There's a reason, for example, people forget, marketing is a business. They have scientific data that backs it up. People pay millions of dollars for you to keep seeing a certain image, keep hearing a certain song. So when they perpetuate these things out in the public, negative and positive, it has an effect. So normally these individuals, they go in and the first thing they say is, I want to thank God for so and so and so. But that word, God, or thank, doesn't carry that heaviness that it should. Believers are not like that. Believers' words are heavy. Believers' words, they mean something. They carry a lot of weight. They have a lot of mass. Believers know what it means to say certain things, especially in the relationship to God, especially in context of the relationship with God. Talking about God, hearing about God, listening to God's words. These communications, the words in those communications, they're heavy. They carry a lot of weight. And today, inshallah, I want to discuss the value and the meaning of saying, I bear witness, there's no God but God. I bear witness, there's no God but God. God said in chapter 3, verse 62, absolutely, this is a narration of the truth. Absolutely, there is no God except God. Absolutely, God is the Almighty, the Most Wise. In chapter 3, verse 18, God says, God bear witness that there is no God except He. God bear witness there is no God except He. That should be sufficient. A being who knows everything, if He bears witness, it's the truth. It's true. God bear witness there is no God except He, and so do the angels and those who possess knowledge. So do the angels and those who possess knowledge. Truthfully and equitably, He is the absolute God. That title, that rank, that nature of who He is never change. Absolute. There's no God but He, the Almighty, Most Wise. These words are extremely heavy. Extremely heavy. How heavy is it? How heavy is that, those words, those phrases? How heavy is it? That statement is the essence of reality. Think about that. That statement, there's no God but God, that's the essence of reality. Not just here, where we live and exist, in the hereafter, before the hereafter, after the essence of reality is in that statement. There's no God except God. That's heavy words. Heavy words, heavy statements. The believers know what that means. We know what that means. Believers know the difference between merely believing in something and believing something. When God says in the Quran, believers believe in God, or believe in their Lord, those words are not light. They're heavy. They're heavy. It's speaking about not just believing in God, but believing God. And that's outlined several times in the Quran. The difference between believing in God and believing God. What is the difference? Do you know the difference? What is the difference between believing in God and believing God? To help you understand this, remember this. Satan believes in God. Satan believes in God. God says in chapter 15, verse 28 to 33, your Lord said to the angels, I'm creating a human being from aged mud like the potter's clay. Once I perfect him and blow into him from my spirit, you shall fall prostrate before him. The angels fell prostrate, all of them, except Iblis, Satan. He refused to be with the prostrators. He said, oh Iblis, and talking to Satan, he said, oh Iblis, why are you not with the prostrators? He said, I am not to prostrate before a human being whom you created from mud like the potter's clay. It will be very hard pressed for me to say Satan doesn't believe in God if he's actually talking and interacting with God. So he believes in God. Factual evidence here. He believes in God. He's talking and communicating with God. So Satan is not that he does not believe in God. Satan doesn't believe God. Satan doesn't believe God. What does that mean? What's the difference there? Satan doesn't believe that God is all-knowing. Not only does Satan believe in God, disbelievers believe in God. Those who disbelieve, they believe in God. God says in chapter 29, verse 61, if you ask them, the disbelievers, if you ask them, who created the heavens and the earth and put the sun and the moon in your service? At night when it's completely dark, that moon is showing light so you can see. Put it in your service so you can utilize it with your eyes. Said if you ask them, who created these things? They will say, God. Why? Then they deviate. You ask a disbeliever, they will say God. They believe in God. God says in chapter 39, verse 38, if you ask them who created the heavens and the earth, they will say God. Say, why then do you set up idols besides God? If God will any adversity for me, can they relieve such an adversity? If he will any blessing for me, can they prevent such a blessing? Say, God is sufficient for me. In him, the trusted shall trust. So disbelievers in God, they believe in God. They believe God created the heavens and earth. They believe God is powerful. They believe God is all-knowing. They believe in that. But do they believe him? And that's the difference. When you say God, when you say you bear witness that there's no God but God, and so do the angels, they believe that God said what he says. They believe what he says. They bear witness to that fact. When you bear witness, what that means? That means you testify with that with all your essence, or who you are. That's what you testify to. I bear witness with my eyes. I bear witness with my ears, with my intellect, with the knowledge that I acquire. I bear witness that there's no God but God. It's not an acceptance of a concept of God. Or it's not an acceptance of just that God is real. It's believing what he says. It's believing God. It's an acknowledgement that God is truly who he is, and he means what he says, and he does what he do. And that's when you graduate. That's when you graduate from I believe in God versus I believe God. I believe what he says. And from the most elementary, and honestly from my understanding, in my opinion, the most elementary aspect of this test is that difference. The difference between knowing if you believe in God versus you believe in God. I'm believing what he says. I believe him. That's the difference. God says in chapter 29, verse 2 through 6, do the people think that they will be left to say, we believe, without being put to the test? Do the people think that you can say, I believe in God without being put to the test? Or I believe God without being put to the test? We tested those before them, for God must distinguish those who are truthful, and he must expose the liar. God doesn't need to know. He's just exposing you for who you are. He's just exposing you for who you are. Are you really a believer? It's going to be exposed. Are you a liar? It's going to show. We are being tested to determine that difference. If somebody believes in God or somebody believes God. And inshallah, in the second part, we'll explore more. To will Allah repent to God. Alhamdulillah, praise be to God. There's no God but God. God says in chapter 49, verse 16, translated as, the Arabs say, we are mu'mins. Correct me if I'm pronouncing that wrong, right? Believers. Say, you have not believed. What you should say is you are Muslims, Semites, until belief is established in your hearts. If you obey God and his messenger, he will not put any of your works to waste. God is forgiver, most merciful. Mu'mins, believers, are those who believe in God and the messenger, then attain a status of having no doubt whatsoever, and strive with their money and their lives in the cause of God. These are the truthful ones. God just made a distinction between a submitter and a believer. He gave us a clear distinction. A believer, they go beyond just believing in God. They believe God. Hence why, if you believe God, you're not going to have doubts. You're going to strive. I'll give you a perfect example. If you're on an elevator, right? And on the elevator, they know they have its service, I think once a year or something like that. But the elevator has certain requirements, specifications that it has to fit. And it will tell you, hey, this is the weight limit on the elevator. So imagine you step on the elevator, then 10 other people come on the elevator, then 10 other people come in the elevator, and you're noticing that this seems like a lot of people on this elevator, until somebody really heavy or something comes in the elevator, and you're like, man, I wonder if this weight limit is getting kind of close. And then the last person comes on the elevator, and the elevator sinks a little bit and makes a little weird noise. You believe what that elevator says about its weight limit, and you probably take options. Like, you know what? I'll wait for the next one. I'll step out. You guys can have this. You may most likely do that because you believe what it says. You believe it, and then you're acting according to it. You don't have doubts about it. You don't have doubts about it saying that weight limit is, it may be 200 more pounds. I doubt that. I'm a mistake. You didn't doubt that. And then you moved with that realization, that acknowledgement. So believers, they don't believe in the concept. They know it. They believe it. And then they move in life as if that's true. He's thinking about his Lord, what he's doing. He's not thinking about his Lord existing. He's thinking about what his Lord is doing now. Do you believe in God or do you believe God? That's an important question we need to ask ourselves today. Do you believe in God or do you believe God? Do you believe what God tells you? God says in chapter 2, verse 224, do not subject God's name to casual swearing that you may appear righteous, poised, or to obtain credibility among the people. God is hearer and knower. This is how God educates us about himself. He will explain something, then he will add his attributes to it so we can understand how it works. So he says, don't use his name in vain. He's hearer and he's knower. Do you believe that God is hearer or he's a knower? Or do you believe that God is hearing you now? Or he's knowing what you're doing now? See the difference? Do you believe in God or do you believe God? God says in chapter 60, verse 3, your relatives and your children can never help you. On the day of resurrection, he will judge among you. God is seer of everything you do. Do you believe God is a seer? Can he see? That's good. That's cool. Or do you believe God is seeing you now? That he's watching you now? You got to ask yourself, do you believe in God or do you believe him? God says in chapter 4, verse 132, to God belongs everything in the heavens and the earth. God is the only protector. The only exclusive protector of everything in the heavens and the earth. So he's saying I own everything and I protect everything. So what is everything? Let's just use the analogy of this room. Us is one thing. Our bodies is another thing. Our minds, our families, the bacteria, the atoms, the things we could see, the things that we're thinking about now, and the things that we're not thinking about. Everything. God said he's the only protector. So do you believe in God as a protector? Or do you believe God is protecting you now? Is God protecting you right now? God says in chapter 2, verse 115, to God belongs the east and the west. God belongs to east and the west. Wherever you go, there is the presence of God. God is omnipresent,
Omnipotent.
omnipotent. Thank you. So, do you believe in God being omnipresent? Or do you believe God is here now? That he's closer to you than your jugular vein. That he's always hearing you. He's here. He's present now. You see, believing God's attributes are real is one level you can be on. But believing God attributes as always active, as going on now, that's believing. That's a higher level. That's a different level. To you, God is here, or is he hearing? Is he seeing? Is he knowing? Is he protecting? Is he guiding? Is he doing it now? Is he active now? And that major difference is what's between, in my opinion, a believer and a submitter. Because if you know God is active now, you move. You get off the elevator. A car is coming towards you. It's like, oh, my judgment, it looked like it's going to hit me. He ain't slowing down. I'm going to move. You don't have doubts about that. You don't sit there and be like, I don't know, he may stop right here. I think he sees me. I don't know. You're not going to doubt that. And that's the difference. It's like we use it every day in our common sense. So why is it different with God? You're going to strive with your life. Everything you do is going to be for him because you just know. Believing in God is trusting in him. To trust someone, you have to believe them, not just believe in them. You have to acknowledge, know that they are not only real, but their actions are real. You have to know that not only they are real, but their actions are real. That their words are real. That they mean what they say. This means 100 and something pounds is the limit. That's real. They mean what they say. God says in chapter 2, verse 252, inshallah, I'll close with this. God says, and this verse is one of the most, to me, eloquent ways God describes himself. He says, God, there is no God besides him, the living, the eternal. The living, the eternal. He's alive and he's eternal. He never changed. He has no beginning, he has no end. Never a moment of unawareness of slumber overtakes him. He doesn't get tired behind the wheel. He doesn't forget. Because unawareness means you forget. If you're all-knowing, you can never forget. You know everything. So you can't not know it. To him belongs everything in the heavens and everything on the earth. So he owns everything. Who could intercede with him except accordance with his will? He knows their past and their future. No one obtains any knowledge except as he wills. So he educated you. What you know is because of him. None of your own will. You should never feel, and this is not just a religious thing. Oh, I gained guidance from the Qur'an and this is what God teach me. Everything. Work related, relationships, English, Arabic, Farsi, whatever. He taught you that stuff. Because you couldn't read without eyes, and he gave you eyes. You couldn't understand language and symbols without a brain. He taught you all the stuff. So it's not just the Quran. It's everything. So no one obtains any knowledge, except what he wills. His dominion encompasses the heavens and the earth, and ruling them never burdens him. He never gets tired. He is the Most High, the Great. He's great now. When you forget, he's still great. Do you believe what God just told you about himself? Do you believe in it? Or do you believe it? We have to acknowledge and believe God to graduate from submitters to believers. We have to graduate. And then we could go from weak believers to reluctant believers. Because remember, God describes reluctant and weak believers in the Quran. They still believers. They still believe in God, but they don't believe God yet. So they're reluctant to fight in his cause. Or they make up excuses. Or we could be steadfast, strong believers who believe in God, believe what he says. We could get to that point where we obtain a status of having no doubt whatsoever and strive with our money and our lives in the cause of God. And we could graduate from believing in God and using lightweight words to carrying the heaviness of what it means. And when you say you believe, you acknowledge a reality that you can't even comprehend and explain, but he controls everything. And we could get to that level where we express that in our essence, and we bear witness with that, with who we are. God says in chapter 6, verse 160, whoever does the righteous work receives the reward for 10, and the one who commits a sin, requited for only one. No one suffers the slightest injustice. Say, my Lord has guided me in the straight path, the perfect religion of Abraham, monotheism. He was never an idol worshiper. Say, my contact prayers, my worship practices, my life, my death, are all devoted absolutely to God alone, the Lord of the universe. He has no partner. This is what I am commanded to believe. Not I believe in it. This is what I'm commanded to believe, and I am the first to submit. This is what God tells you to say. He's not quoting somebody. He's telling you what to say. And if he's telling you what to say, that means he wants you to believe in it. That means what you should do. If you have to say something, you should do. And you know in the Quran, God says to believers, why do you say what you do not do? This is the most gross thing to him. So when he's commanding you to do or say something, that means he means say it with your words, with your actions, with your deeds. All praise belongs to God. Akim as-salam.